Today we're taking a look at these college football matches, which are happening on Tuesday, December 27, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. Also, check out our perks and join the High Stakes membership. Joining the High Stakes membership is easy, is cheap, but it will help a lot in the growth process of this channel. Plus check out our Patreon in the link down below if you want access for our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation, so make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comments section below. Memphis Tigers vs Utah State Aggies. The Memphis Tigers come into this game with a record of 6-6 for this year. The last time they took the field, the Tigers took the field against the SMU Mustangs and went home with a loss by a final score of 34-31. Jevian Ducker was the rushing leader for the Tigers with 10 totes for 81 yards, 8.1 yards per carry. Seth Hennigan finished 27-44 with 287 yards passing and 1 TD. He had a QB rate of 119.1 and ended the game with 1 interception. When it came to stopping the run, the Tigers conceded 113 yards on 37 tries, which averages out to 3.1 yards per run allowed. Memphis conceded 28 completions on 38 tries for 311 yards and a completion percentage of 73.7%. In all, they tallied 78 plays which gave them 439 yards. The Memphis Tigers ran the ball 33 different times and had 152 yards, which earned them an average of 4.6 yards per carry. Memphis endured a rollercoaster 2022 campaign, winning 4 straight and then losing 4 straight in the middle of the season. It lost its season finale at SMU 34-31 on a pick in the end zone with 2 seconds left. The Tigers now turn their attention to an Aggies team that boasts the 26th ranked scoring offense. The Tigers have attained 5,048 total yards over the course of this year. When it comes to getting in the end zone, Memphis has earned 20 passing touchdowns and 28 rushing touchdowns. They have turned the football over 16 different times. Memphis has amassed 268 first downs as a team, and they have committed 48 infractions for 424 yards. As a unit, they're averaging 141.9 yards in the run game, which is 81st in the country. Regarding scoring points, the Memphis Tigers hold an average of 35.1 points per contest. Utah State won 3 straight over New Mexico, Hawaii, and San Jose State before dropping its regular season finale to Boise State. The Aggies also beat UConn, Air Force, and Colorado State. The nation's 25th ranked pass defense, the USU secondary, will make it challenging for the Tigers' passing attack to make its mark on the First Responder Bowl. The Tigers are sitting in 75th in D1 when it comes to the opposition scoring, conceding 27.3 points per game. They are allowing 3.5 yards per rush and 121.8 rushing yards per game for the year. In total, they have given up 1,462 rushing yards through 12 games. Concerning passing yardage, the Tigers have conceded 3,002 yards, which has them sitting in 98th in college football. They have conceded 250.2 yards per contest via the pass, in addition to conceding a completion percentage of 62.8%. For the season, they are granting 371.9 yards per outing, which puts them 63rd in the country. They have relinquished 23 touchdowns through the air, in addition to 17 touchdowns running the ball. I have reservations that Utah State's offense can keep pace with the Tigers' attack. Tyler Jr. is a solid back, but the Aggies aren't the same squad without Boner at quarterback. 104th nationally in third down conversion percentage and 74th in red zone scoring percentage, they're not getting it done when it matters. The Tigers score over 35 points per game, with the 27th best third down conversion percentage and 30th red zone scoring percentage. Utah State secondary is solid, but there's too much pressure on the unit to hold Memphis out of the end zone. I expect the Tigers will pull away sometime in the second half, winning and covering the 7.5 point spread. Our first pick is Memphis minus 7.5 point. The Aggies come into this game with a record of 6-6 this season. The last time they took the gridiron, the Aggies took a loss by a score of 42-23 against the Boise State Broncos. Cooper Legas, 1 touchdown, walked away from the contest with 306 yards on 23 40ths through the air, while his quarterback rate was 120. He tossed 2 interceptions, and his YA was 7.7. Calvin Tyler Jr. carried the ball 18 times for 65 yards, walking away from the contest with 3.6 yards per carry for Utah State. Utah State rushed for 3.7 yards per attempt, finishing with 162 yards on 44 carries. The Aggies finished the contest with a total of 468 yards, and they ran 86 plays, 5.4 yards per play. The Aggies' passing defense gave up a completion percentage of 60.9%, surrendering 220 yards on 14 for 23 passing. Utah State relinquished 36 rush attempts for 208 yards, 5.8 yards per rush. The Aggies are trying to win back-to-back bowl games for the first time since 2013 to 2014. They have currently won only 6 bowl games in their program's history, and a win on Tuesday would put them back on the map, with a chance to be even more competitive in the following years. Even without the win, the Aggies signed numerous players on National Signing Day. In their final regular season game, Utah State was bested by Boise State by a score of 42-23. Cooper Legas did not have his best game, completing only 23 40th passes for 306 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Calvin Tyler Jr. led the ground game with 65 yards and a touchdown on 18 carries, while Terrell Vaughn had himself a day, catching 8 passes for 148 yards and a score. Byron Vaughns was the only player to record a sack on the day, and Hunter Reynolds had the most tackles with 7. Cooper Legas was the leading passer on the squad with a 61.2% completion rate, 13 total touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and 1,465 yards through the air. Logan Boner was able to secure about half the amount of time that Legas earned and chipped in throughout the season as well, but Legas had a better overall rating. Tyler Jr. led the rushing attack in a big way this season, rushing for 1,043 yards on 237 carries and 7 of the 14 total rushing touchdowns. Brian Cobbs was the leading receiver for Utah State this year, catching a team-high 70 passes for 844 yards. However, Vaughn caught the most touchdown passes with 5. Their 162.0 average rushing yards per game ranked just outside the top 50, but their passing attack was lacking. They are ranked just outside the top 25 worst teams through the air. Their 23.3 points per game scored was also in the bottom half of all teams in the country. A.J. Vongphachanh led the defense with 92 total tackles, but Reynolds had a team-high 53 solo tackles on the year. Daniel Grisiak earned the most sacks on the Aggies with 6.5, while Michael Enyianwu had 10 passes defended, and Ike Larson totaled 4 picks on the year, both were team highs. Utah State averaged just under 400 total yards against this season, including holding opponents to a tad under 200 passing yards, which is good for 25th best in the nation. However, they were 14th worst in stopping the run with teams averaging 198.2 yards per game on the ground. The Utah State offense has totaled 953 yards of penalties on 103 violations, which rank second in Division I in terms of hurting your team. During this campaign so far, the Aggies have earned 2,402 yards via the pass, as well as holding an average of 200.2 throwing yards per contest, giving them a rank of 105th in D1. Regarding the points being put on the board, the Aggies currently sit 101st in the nation, holding an average of 23.3 points per game. The Aggies are relinquishing 30.6 points per game, ranking them 103rd in the country. Utah State has given up a total of 2,378 yards rushing, 198.2 yards game, in addition to 17 touchdowns on the ground so far this year. Over the course of the season, they have surrendered 367 points in total. But I expect Utah State to have the rushing attack carry them as long as they can, which means more time off the clock per possession and less time to score for either team. Memphis was under 60 in 2 of their last 3 games, and the 2 defenses have held opponents to a combined total of less than 60 points per game. Utah State does not score enough for me to be confident in the over, and the 2 teams combined for a total of less than 60 on offense as well. While Memphis has a solid passing attack, if they have the lead, they will be more likely to run the ball more and thus limit the potential scoring opportunities. The Aggies have hit the under in 8 of their last 9 bowl games and 11 of their last 14 December games. The Tigers have hit the under in 5 of their last 6 contests in December. Our second pick is under 60.5 points.